Members of the Shaker Heights School Board, I thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you today. Last month, the Shaker Heights Gifted Education Work Group presented to you their challenge statement and root cause statements that specify the aspirations and outcome gaps as it relates to achieving equity and excellence in the Shaker Heights School District. They communicated the challenge to be that test scores and other criteria used to determine student placement in various classes, including AP and IB programs, generate inconsistencies as to how students enter these programs. Student choice and placement generate distinct participation patterns linked to race and possibly income. While I agree somewhat with this analysis of what ails our community, I would like to propose an alternate challenge based upon the quantitative and qualitative data that has been collected over the course of the last few school years. I would offer that the challenge we face here in Shaker Heights is one of equitable access to high quality instruction for all to ensure readiness at each grade level in preparation so that all can authentically access advanced programming such as AP and IB. In an effort to defend this statement, I offer the following evidence. After listening to the various testimonies of district stakeholders, to include testimony of parents, school leaders, instructional staff, it would be fair to say that there's a significant gap of quality and rigor between the core academic program offered at Shaker Heights and the advanced programming, even at the elementary school level. And I'm sure many of you can attest to this since you probably observed this firsthand or at least heard about it secondhandedly from your children, since each of you are either connected to the district as alumni or are parents of a current student. The problem for Shaker Heights, a district that is committed to equity, is that the outcome suggests structural discrimination as a possible root cause for this disparity, as evidenced by the district's commitment to meeting the needs of specific groups of students at the expense of other students, resulting in a pattern of underperformance by a distinctive population of the student body. As we look at the measures of academic performance data for math and reading and cross-reference it to race and socioeconomic data, a number of patterns start to emerge. When we look at socioeconomic factors across the district, we see that there's a huge variance between those who are receiving meal assistance, a measure associated with proximity to poverty, by race, with significantly more African American students receiving assistance than their white, Asian, and Latinx peers. We see an inverse pattern when we look at student participation in advanced programming by race district-wide, with African American student participation significantly lower than their white, Asian, and Latinx peers. This pattern was initially most troubling to me, as I made the mistake of attributing the underperformance to poverty, or based upon the indicators of poverty, which in and of itself raised questions about equity and whether or not our most resource-challenged students are getting the supports necessary to be successful and to be able to compete with their peers for access to advanced programming. But then I looked at the percentage of students performing at advanced levels in reading and math and noticed the following. The percentage of African American students performing at an advanced level was significantly lower than their white, Asian, and Latinx peers. But I also noticed that the percentage of African American students performing at the advanced level in reading and math was almost equally distributed between those who were receiving meal assistance and those who were not. This finding lessened my anxiety about poverty as the main driver of inequitable access to advanced programs, while at the same time, it increased my concerns about readiness. African American students in Shaker Heights perform significantly lower than their white, Asian, Latinx peers in both reading and math. Our commitment to equity would necessitate that we ask ourselves, why? Why is it that better than half of our African American students are underperforming in both reading and math? Now that we know this to be true, what does it say about readiness or equitable access to quality programming and instruction for all students? Are we doing everything that we can to ensure every student an excellent education? What are some of the root causes for this readiness gap? Are we providing our most challenged students with the access to supports that they need? Are our teachers adequately trained to differentiate instruction in all classrooms to meet the needs of every learner? Are we making it a priority to allocate resources to ensure that every student is receiving the support that they need to excel in Shaker Heights? And are we willing to have real and honest discussions about structural discrimination and our own personal biases and the impact it may be having on our African American students' ability to access advanced programming at equivalent rates to their peers? These are the challenges that we must grapple with as we work to fulfill our commitment to equity and excellence for all students. Thank you for your time.